Hey guys, today we're going to learn about unit rates. A rate is a comparison of two quantities that have different units, such as miles and hours. A unit rate will have a denominator of 1. So some examples of unit rates would be like miles per hour. If you're driving down the highway, how fast are you going per hour? The cost per item. If you get 120 MAP pencils for $10, how much does each MAP pencil cost? So with unit rate, we're trying to figure out the cost of just one, or how fast we're going for just 1 hour. So unit rates, remember the number 1. Now let's look at this photo. See that sunflowers, you can get them for two for $10. So we're going to solve for the unit rate of these sunflowers. $10 for 2 sunflowers. And if you notice, I labeled the numerator and the denominator so that we know how to set up our proportion. And again, our goal here is to figure out what's the cost of just 1 sunflower. So I'm going to put a 1 across from sunflowers. Now to solve for proportions, we're trying to figure out this missing number here, and we're going to use a method called cross multiply and divide. So we're going to crisscross multiply 1 times 10, and then we're going to take that answer and divide it by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so the cost for 1 sunflower is $5. Okay, let's try another one. James is repainting his kitchen. He estimates that he paints 55 square feet every half hour. How many square feet does James paint per hour? So I'm noticing he paints 55 square feet every half hour. And then we want to know per hour, which is just 1. So let's set up a proportion. So we want to know for 1 hour, I'm going to put hours across the denominator, and then I'm going to put square feet across the numerator. And it says 55 square feet for every half hour. Those two numbers go together, so they need to go in the same fraction. 55 feet for every half hour. Now, half of an hour is 30 minutes. We're not concerned about that. We're talking about hours here. Another way to write a half could look like a fraction, or it could look like a decimal, 0.5. So I'm going to use 0.5 since we're dealing with hours here. And then we want to know for just 1 hour, so here's hours, I'm going to put the 1 in the other fraction, and we are solving for the numerator. So we're going to crisscross multiply, so 1 times 55 is 55, and then we're going to divide that by 0.5. Now we can't have a decimal outside of the division, so let's move it over once, and that means we move the decimal over once on the inside. Five goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into the next 5 one time. So 5 goes into 55 11 times evenly. Subtract, and now there's this extra 0. Let's just bring it up. So our answer here is 110. So for 1 hour, he would paint 110 square feet. Now the question goes on and is asking us, well, if he can paint 110 per hour for 1 hour, how much could he paint in 5 hours? So if each hour equals 110, and then I want to know for 5 hours, that would be 110 5 times. We could do 110 times 5. you would get 550 square feet finished. Alright, let's look at the last one. 2 pools are leaking. So we're going to be comparing 2 different swimming pools. After 4 hours, pool A has leaked 14 gallons. After 4.5 hours, pool B has leaked 16.2 gallons. Which pool is leaking faster? So we're going to be solving for the unit rate for each pool. Pool A and then pool B. So let's set up a proportion for pool A first. So after 4 hours, it leaked 14 gallons. And we're wanting to know how fast it's leaking per hour. So I'm going to have hours in the denominator, and then I'm going to put gallons in the numerator. And 4 hours, so I'm going to put the 4 next to hours, and then 14 gallons. Those two numbers go together. And remember, for unit rate, a denominator of 1. So across from hours, since we're figuring out per hour or for just 1 hour, I want to put 1 across from hours. And then we're going to crisscross multiply. So 1 times 14. And then we're going to take that answer and divide it by 4. 4 goes into 14 3 times, minus 12. 14 minus 12 is 2. Since I'm adding a 0, we need to add a decimal. Bring it down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. So pool A leaks at a rate of 3.5 gallons per hour. Okay, let's figure out pool B. Again, the proportion is going to look very similar, gallons and hours. And then pool B leaks 16.2 gallons after 4.5 hours. And then again, we want to know per hour, so hour is 1. We're going to crisscross multiply. And then divide that answer by 4.5. Okay, we can't have a decimal on the outside, so let's move that over once. Move it over once on the inside as well. 45 goes into 162 3 times. 45 times 3 is 135, so we're going to subtract 135. 12 minus 5, 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. Going to add a 0 and bring it down. 45 goes into 276 times. 45 times 6 is 270 exactly. So our rate for pool B is 3.6 gallons per hour. And then pool A was 3.5 gallons per hour. Which pool is leaking faster? That means the pool that is leaking the most gallons per hour, and that would be pool B. 3.6 is greater or faster than 3.5. So pool B is faster than pool A. Okay guys, today we learned about what a unit rate is. It's the cost per item, or how fast you're going per mile, how many miles per hour. We learned that for unit rate we must use a 1, so like it's the cost per item, meaning how much money does one item cost. We solved one about James and painting and figuring out, well, how fast does he paint per hour, and then use that to predict how far he would get in 5 hours. And then we also practiced where we found the unit rate for 2 different swimming pools and then we compared them. Thanks for watching.